Good evening, world. Um, so I wanted to talk about something that is really relevant in my life at all times and always has been. I am a perpetual, consistent overthinker. I overthink, overanalyze every single detail of everything. It is very, it's very addicting, and I'm going to use that word lightly, right? I mean, I'm an addict. I've been sober 14 years. I'm still an addict. I'll be an addict for the rest of my life. And I'm as I'm doing the work and as I'm seeing these changes, I've realized that my new addictions have been workaholic, have been overthinking, overanalyzing. There's just lots of patterns, right? And it really hinder. In some ways, it helps, right? Like business and breaking things down, doing certain things like that. But in a lot of ways, it hurts and it cripples me a lot of times. It takes me from decision making or decisive nature to breaking things down so much, reiterating them, going over them, overthinking it, and then tearing it apart. And at the end of the day, it gets in my way, right? Like it takes so much energy and it's so frustrating. It's so overwhelming, right? It just it takes me to a different level of, I guess, almost like obsessing over a specific, whether it's a conversation, circumstance, situation that I'm in, some of the best and worst relationships I've ever had in my life, whether it be friendships or more, right? It's this overthinking, overanalyzing has crippled me. And it's something that I consciously need to work on more, and something that I need to find a different outlet for. And that I'm going to work on when I talk to my life coach, I guess, on Thursday. I actually think I speak to both of them. Yes, because I overthink that too and have too. I feel like it, it's my way of trying to get something with infinite solutions to be finite. And it doesn't work that way, right? It just doesn't. There's something about there's something about the unknown that forces me to tear things down and tear them apart. And it really is a fear of the unknown, right? Because it's intangible. There's so many things that can come out of it. And what I'm trying to do is become more comfortable within that. Now, I'm still not great at it. I'm still not very good at it. But I'm getting a little bit better, right? I'm not falling into a down mood. I'm not falling into, excuse me, a little tired. Getting up at 4:30 every morning is a little rough sometimes, especially with three kids. Um, I'm not getting depressed, or I'm not beating myself up over things as much. So I guess that's good, right? Like I'm not doing that nearly as often as I was. Like that was a perpetual behavior of mine. That's been my behavior since I was a child. To immediately go inward, immediately beat myself up, and immediately just take it all out on myself. And what I realize is, at the end of the day, it's not always about me. At the end of the day, sometimes, even though I might have been wrong, it wasn't my fault completely. And you just never know what mood or what's going on in the other person's life. So you've just got to have a little bit more empathy. And sometimes you just you take the higher road and you find ways to either calm the situation, appease the situation, or ignore the situation. Um, and I mean that in the highest regard of it, right? I'm not saying ignore the person, ignore what they're going through, but ignore it from your mind and don't absorb it, right? Like don't take it in, because at the end of the day, it might have nothing to do with you. It might have just been a bad moment for that person, and you just let it go. And I'm getting better at that. It's not an easy thing for me, but I am, right? Because I'm used to blaming myself, this self blame. I'm having more self compassion. I'm forgiving myself when I make these mistakes and I'm not harping on it, right? And I took a lot of time to myself today, and I did a lot of solitude and a lot of a lot of gratitude and a lot of time with my kids and a lot of just being introspective and really thoughtful with myself, finding reasons that to love myself and qualities that I have, and acknowledging them in writing, because I that's with my lack of self worth and lack of confidence and lack of all these different things, right? That's a major issue for me. So I'm really working on these things very hard, and I'm putting a lot of time, a lot of thought, and a lot of effort behind it. Um, and I'm happy with where I am right now. I'm not in the best. I'm not happy at this moment, but I'm not sad either. I'm very content right now with everything. And if that becomes my worst days, then that's a win, right? Because you're never going to always be happy. But you can always find that silver lining. You could always find that reason for happiness and find those moments, as Annie would say, right? My friend Annie Lieb, she's a brilliant, brilliant woman and unbelievably inspiring for me. She's just, it's about finding those moments and holding on to them. So I just wanted to share that with you tonight, that this overthinking thing, you're not alone if you do it. I do it. Many people do it. And if you have any questions, just reach out. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good night.